Am I wrong to think my mother-in-law doesn't have a place to parent me? I, 27F, have been with my husband, 29M, for about 5 years, married for 2 now. His mom and I have struggled with each other since he and I began shopping for my engagement rings, so I honestly can't tell if I'm just overly sensitive to her criticisms. We've had boundary issues and struggles in the past, and while things have improved, I still sometimes have an issue with how she inserts herself. The most recent issue is that she thinks I shouldn't be posting my political and religious opinions on Facebook. With the recent events in the US, I have been outspoken with how it makes me feel and the issues I have in our religion's role in it. On Monday she decided to text us both and tell me that she thinks what I post is a red flag of sorts, and passed it off as concern for how it could affect my job or future employment for both of us. I told her I appreciate her concern but that I'm pretty careful with social media and my co-workers who are connected with me on there have never said anything. My husband agrees with her take and thinks I just have a bias against her, but I strongly feel like we don't have a relationship built for her to have that kind of place in my life. My own mom will not say things to me unless I ask her advice or insight, so I'm accustomed to more freedom without chastisement as an adult closing in on 30 years old. Am I wrong to want to tell my mill to back off? Too long didn't read. My mill thinks she has a place to give me parental advice, and I disagree. Dude, just put her on your restricted Facebook list. Good advice is the kind you seek out and want, not unsolicited and from a place of judgment. You're not in the wrong at all to want your mill to keep her opinions of your social media to herself. Of course your husband agrees with her though. She raised him to think that her offering her thoughts was normal, whereas in your family, it was not. You are an adult and don't need parental approval to express your thoughts on your own social media. People are commenting on whether or not the advice Mill have you is good, and I think that's beside the point. It's unsolicited advice, which most people don't want. If you don't want this advice going forward, stop engaging with her. I told her I appreciate her concern but that I'm pretty careful with social media and my co-workers who are connected with me on there have never said anything. Instead of doing this, just tell her something like thanks for your input, I'll think about it. You don't have to justify your position to her and explaining why you're not going to take her advice, just create an opening for further back and forth. Don't justify or engage, just acknowledge her message. You can block her from seeing your posts. I do it because my landlord is a Trump supporter and believes Antifa stormed the Capitol and I'd like to still have a house to live in. Thank you for your input. That's it. That's all you have to say. My 29F husband, 29M, is passive-aggressive about something I did 2 months ago and won't let it go. The short version is that a few months ago we had hit a rough patch and been arguing some, and I lost my temper one night and told him I made a mistake and ruined my life by marrying him and having a child with him. I know that's a horrible thing to say and I regretted it the second I calmed down from the fight. I have apologized to him so many times. I told him it wasn't true. I explained that I was angry and lost my temper and that I'm going to work on not saying things like that going forward and communicating in a healthy way, etc. He said okay and accepted my apologies. It's been over 2 months now, and he is being passive-aggressive about this almost every single day. If I ask him to go to the park with me and our son, he refuses and says something like he doesn't want to ruin my day out. If I ask him to cuddle me on the couch, he says he wouldn't dream of trapping me by doing that. You get the idea? Just things like this. Sometimes we still have an okay time and act more or less normal, but we are never far away from him bringing it up. Also, he's definitely colder to me since then. He basically never texts me anymore when we're at work. He spends a lot of time playing computer games with the door locked, or at a friend's house for hours without telling me when he'll be back, etc. If I say anything about this, he will say something like, yeah, I know, I'm the worst mistake you ever made. You already said that and just walk off without changing the behavior at all. I'm at a loss for how to handle this. Do I just give him time? Do I put my foot down and demand he stop bringing it up? Too long didn't read. Said something hurtful to my husband a few months ago in an argument. Husband is being cold towards me since. He brings up my comments if I ever tell him I'm upset with him being cold to me. I am willing to bet you broke him with this comment. Who says that to someone they love? What's next? Yelling at the kids, saying wish you never were born. You hurt him bad. For sake of argument he probably said I forgive you. But reflect a bit. What if tabies are reversed? Would you just be like, oh, okay? No biggie, she didn't mean it. Heck no. From what I'm seeing here you're pretty strong-minded and probably a dominant personality. You would have gone off. Am I right? Marriage counseling. In life, there are some things that, once said, are very hard to take back. It's like breaking your arm or cutting someone. It heals for the most part. But it's never quite the same. It's clear that what you said cut him to the bone. He's forgiven you in the sense that he doesn't want to keep arguing about it, but he hasn't forgiven you. Not really. Marriage counseling isn't just for people on the verge of divorce. You can also use it as a tune-up for the marriage. Sounds like you both have other issues too, as you were in a rough patch. Maybe now is a good time for a tune-up rather than letting things fester. I think if you just tell him not to bring it up again, the feelings will still be there. He'll just bury it more. Better to address them than bury them. A neutral, professional, third party might help you both get to a better place. If you have a wound that you hope will heal but it won't heal, you go to the doctor. You wounded him in a way that's not healing, so you need to take him to a therapist. Your relationship is in crisis. Just as you can't unsay what you said to him, he can't unhear it, despite your apologies. Mainly he's still seething, and struggling with how to deal with it. Putting your foot down and demanding that he stop won't get you anywhere. I second the therapy advice. What else can you do? He's beyond seething. He, at least some level, believes that his wife regrets marrying him and having a child with him. This is emasculating and soul-crushing. Worse yet, Op has virtually no idea what she's done. Not going to lie, but that comment hurts. If my wife said the same, it would be something I would think about constantly. Maybe the reason why he brings it up regularly and at the most random times possible. As the others here said, counseling would be a good idea. Your guy needs the reassurance that you still love him and you are trying to make it right by him. But if he doesn't want to move forward from what may have been the weakest point of your relationship, then that is on him. I F32 love talking to my best friend, F40, but lately I feel annoyed when she calls BC. She just talks at me. It's killing our relationship. My BFF is fun, wild, and charismatic. She talks a lot and has absolutely no concept of volume or how to filter her thoughts. Really. She's one of the most genuine person I know. But lately I feel like we're not equals in a conversation. I'm unheard and interrupted constantly. Example, we worked at the same place for a few years but her mom had surgery, so now she has to care for her 24/7. My boss asked when she and I were hanging out next and I told her soon. Boss says take this book of inventory to PFEFs and do a purchase order for me and I'll give y'all some free products out of it. Awesome. Purchase orders are really fun for the product we sell. I tell BFF the evening before, the morning of, and when I arrive. I kept trying to tell her let's get this over with so we can drink wine the rest of the day. Let's do this. But she just keeps talking about other things and ignoring the inventory book. Finally tell her, look, I have an hour before I have to leave, we need to get this done, boss is depending on us. She gets all hurt and says that's the only reason I came to hang out. I was so confused. I had told her multiple times what the plan was and I tried to get her help to finish it up so we could spend our time doing fun stuff. I was very clear and had stated it multiple times. I feel like my purpose in our relationship is just someone to talk at. Another example that makes me feel like a prop. A couple months ago, I miscarried. The baby was very much wanted and I was incredibly excited. It was physically and emotionally painful. It was the second day and I'm still in the process, so it hurts a lot and I don't feel good at all. BFF knew this. I finally get home and want nothing more than to go to bed. She calls crying, begging me to come over, BC her, verbally abusive, Mom said some fucked up shit. I told her I was sick and didn't want to leave the house, but she kept saying I need you and proceeded to beg me to come over. I relent and head that way. She then said, oh, and can you stop by the liquor store on your way over? I need a drink. I really don't want to, but got it for her, went over there, and listened to her talk for a while as I'm dying inside. My stomach was upset and I began throwing up. She just continues like nothing happened. I throw up again and say I need to go home. She begs and begs and begs me to stay, but I hurt real bad and was tired of being talked at, so I left. I hate when she begs me to stay. I hate when she pressures me especially. I hate when I give in to her. How do I set boundaries with this woman? I have no intention of ending our friendship, but if she doesn't start taking my needs into consideration, I'm done. Too long didn't read. Friend doesn't listen to my needs. Ignores what I say and pressures me to do things I'm not comfortable with. How do I set boundaries? This woman is not your friend. She has absolutely no boundaries or empathy. I've had some selfish friends, but none of them have ever pulled the kind of crap you describe here. Why would you even want to be friends with someone who would guilt you out of bed and to the liquor store while you're miscarrying your child and extremely ill? What? Exclamation mark. Give her one last chance if you need to, but I just tell her this friendship is over and move on. I hate being pressured into things, being constantly talked over, and ignored when I'm trying to get things done with them. That just shows they don't respect me enough to do their own job either, which is not a good sign. I sometimes need to be pushed into outings, but they're usually fun and there are ways that allow me to chill and enjoy myself, so they're not a big deal. However, she should have come to _ with ice cream to get your minds off what has been upsetting you, and only if you are amicable to company. You're right, she talks _ at _ you, not _ to _ you, and she clearly does not care for your needs. You can't make her care. And when she failed to be a decent person a day after _ your _ miscarriage, I'd say she's a lost cause. Ask for space, i.e. please don't talk for me for a week, I need space from you. We need to have a serious talk after / before. Regardless, you need to have a serious heart-to-heart, and give her a chance to prove she can listen and that she cares, but I honestly don't think she does, and I don't think she's worth the effort. There are better and more decent people out there. Don't settle for an emotional leech. Came here to say this, but you've pretty much hit the nail spot on with this one. I've been in this type of friendship a few times, in your position and hers. You need to have a sit down with her about your needs, and really explain how you feel without being mean / accusatory. If her initial reaction is angry, that's normal. After a day or so, she should calm down and be more respectful. The other side of this is your behavior. If she interrupts you, call her out. If she starts begging you to do something and you've said no, tell her to stop begging because you don't like it. You need to have a backbone and really reinforce your boundaries, or chances are she won't think you have any. This is going to be difficult because you've both been creating an unhealthy dynamic. If she does genuinely care about you, then she will adapt to the new status quo. If not, then she might not like the backbone and you'll drift apart. Time will tell. This sounds like a codependent friendship, where she's basing her identity and self-esteem around your endless emotional support. Sit down with her and have a talk about boundaries and respecting them, and how you've been feeling lately. Organize maybe once a week or once every other week meetings for about 1 to 2 hours each time because you would like some personal space. She's a real friend, she'll understand and respect boundaries. If she gets angry and defensive about how you're so selfish, then it's time to walk.